I have just arrived in Las Terrenas from SOOO in the Dominican Republic. Honestly, every single leg of this trip has been significantly different. It seems like every part of it has a singular purpose, and that I'm supposed to see and observe and learn certain things at each juncture. I'm supposed to be healed of certain things at each juncture, and I tell you, every step of the way of this thing has been so completely different from the step before. So Tobago was just rest and recoup and what have you. Trinidad was awesome and was about the beauty and the splendor and the new relationships. So SOOO had its own, learning experience. And honestly, I think that the videos that I've done before now I've been nervous, so they've been kind of like, what should I say kind of thing. But this trip is starting to really change me. And I'm finding that, I'm becoming more me on it, and therefore a lot more honest. So SOOO was a trip, and I was really upset and angry when I first started to realize where I was, because I'm like, what am I doing here? Because every scenario that I found myself in that's been an unknown has always revealed itself to be amazing. And here I was with this in this city, in this scenario, and it was not amazing, and I got upset. I'm like, what the hell's going on? But every leg of this trip is purposeful. So SOOO is the prostitution capital of the Dominican Republic. And, those are one of those kind of things that you'd probably learn if you did some extensive research on TripAdvisor or something like that, rather than just entering into the situation just cold turkey, You might learn those kinds of things, but I didn't, and so I had to learn it firsthand. I was wondering, first of all, the women and the men, beautiful, just visually stunningly gorgeous, beautiful people. While I was walking down the street and literally get propositioned by 95 to 98% of the people that we just happened to casually walk past. Very blatant, very overt. A lot of recommendations as to what you need and how soon you need it and who you need it from. I'm not really an overtly sexual person. I love sex. I think it's great if done with the right person, but I'm not really that chick. And so being in an environment like that really kind of had me unnerved a bit for quite a while. And as I kind of delved into myself to see what the answers to those questions were, one thing I said is like, if nothing else, then we'll find out how the Lord feels about institutionalized prostitution. I said, well, how do you feel about institutionalized prostitution? And he said, well, how do I feel about you? I said, well, you love me. I've been enjoying an abundance of God's presence and favor and open doors and his constant attention. I can feel him super close. I'm enjoying being taken care of by my Father and feeling what that feels like to be not just taken care of, but well taken care of. And so, I'm like, you love me, but what does that have to do with anything? And then he didn't say anything, but this flood of memories started coming back to me, and I remembered something that had been scrubbed from my mind, which is that when I was in my early adulthood, I, for a few weeks, couple of months, was a professional escort. And I had totally forgotten about that. And when the memories came, they came without any kind of accusation or recrimination or judgment or any guilt or anything. It was just, hey, You forgot this, you know. And I did, boy, I tell you, I forgot it. But as the memories came back, they were juxtaposed against the certain knowledge that I have of the abiding love and presence of God. Like he's close and really cares, and really is involved, and really is in this thing, you know. And so juxtaposed against that reality that I'm existing in and the reality of what my past was, and, you know, marrying those two is like, I love them. I love you. I love them. That's how I feel about it. And boy, that was something. I could hardly breathe when I came across that. I had to sit down for a minute. Wrapped within that, I realized that there was an area of hatred because I hated the thing and I was once involved in the thing. Hatred was attached to the thing for me and has remained there. And I realized that I've been operating in a level of self-hatred that I didn't know that I was operating in. And it has colored a lot of things. Particularly, I know it's certainly colored my view of sex and my view of, you know, even rescuing people, rescuing women from something I believe that was being inflicted upon them. The thing I found when I was an escort was that, yeah, the money was great, and I understand that that's why the women in SOOO have done it, or are doing it, you know, and maybe across the world they are doing. There's a certain percentage of women, I believe, that just like it, and then there are some that this is the way of life because there really aren't a lot of other opportunities to, you know, take care of yourself, take care of your family. The guys in SOOO that we talked to, you know, they were like, you know, some of these women, they prefer to make $100 an hour than work all day, not making any money at all, and making less than that, working 8 to 10 hours. And so I get that. And the money was certainly good when I was doing it. The thing I found, though, was that at the core of it, after the money is received and spent, there remains some part of yourself that has to hate yourself enough to use yourself and use your body that way. And, you know, it's different levels for different people. I'm certainly not here to pass judgment on anybody, but, you know, I did recognize that to be a truth, that there was a certain amount of hatred, big or small, quiet or loud, that I had to accept and swallow if I was going to continue in that life. And the reason it was so brief for me, or it was as long as it was, put it that way, for me, was because I didn't quite hate myself that much. So I came out of that, you know, but I did come out of it with a truth that it does something to you. It tears at the fabric of who you are and your value to yourself, your self-worth to yourself, and what you give to other people, whether they be your offspring, natural or otherwise, or whether they just be, you know, people in your life. You know, those kind of things, they translate into the everydayness of your life. And I didn't want that in the everydayness of my life, and so I came out of it. What I found and what I uncovered as I started sifting through the wreckage of all that stuff and hearing what God was saying to me today about those things was that, you know, for those people who would choose something else, if something else were available to choose, God will help you wherever you find yourself, at whatever level you find yourself, in whatever situation you find yourself. If you're living in a place where your economy won't sustain, you know, your lifestyle, or a reasonable lifestyle for you or for your children, you know, a lot of times that kind of oppression will just close in on you and close in on itself and make you feel hopeless. And what I heard and what I felt when I felt the love of God come alongside with those memories, even as he's calling me his princess, even as he's calling us his princesses, his queens, his daughters, his prophets, his teachers, his women of God, even as he's calling us those things, despite what our present or past is saying, he's also saying that you can come to me and ask me for better. You can come to me and ask me for help, and I'll help you. An economy be damned, I will help you. I'll get you where you need to be. I'll get you where you want to be. I will do the extraordinary in your life because I love you. And I think that the gospel that is ministered and preached is all about, just believe, believe, believe. But how can you believe if your life and your situation is constantly bombarding you and telling you something different? And that's where God wants to meet you. That's where God wants to meet us, is in the crux of the impossible, where our natural situations are saying one thing and our spiritual situation is saying believe for something else. But God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And the way that he loves me today is the way that he's always loved me. The way that he loves you today is the way that he's always loved you. And that love is unchanging. Our understanding of what that love looks like and what that love entails changes as we continue to walk with him. But I tell you, it gets better and better and better and better and better. And so, should the time or the circumstance occur where I find myself in SOOO again, I will do so with a certain knowledge that I am no different, except for the grace of God in bringing me alongside people who could tell me and teach me what my inheritance is as a daughter of the King. So, now here we are in Las Terrenas. We're going to learn some Spanish. We're going to have some quiet. But something tells me there's some good stuff right around the corner. This place is beautiful. It's very quiet, very restful. And I'm looking forward to whatever this one is supposed to yield. Until next time, God bless you. I hope you got a lot out of that. And talk to you soon.